Welcome to the Ron Yates channel, where the stimulus information is always on point. Your go-to place for the latest, most accurate stimulus updates, timelines, and developments. We also cover your daily news updates on America, personal finance, stock market, and investing. And hey, I just want to thank you guys for hitting that like button. I really appreciate it. You get me pumped up for the day. But let me return the favor with the best updates for you guys in today's video. Let's go ahead and jump in. Big week ahead, guys, as the House of Representatives are returning to session to get some major stimulus done. Three big items on the agenda. You've got the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, the Democrats' $3.5 trillion spending plan, and voting rights legislation. Each one is a pretty big deal for stimulus. The $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill holds a lot of infrastructure projects that are major quality of life improvements for many Americans. Now, aside from that, there's also the $65 billion investment in upgrading the country's broadband. Part of that is going to help lower the price that households pay for internet service by requiring federal funding recipients to offer a low-cost, affordable plan, by creating price transparency and also boosting competition in areas where existing providers aren't providing adequate service. It would also create a permanent federal program to help more low-income households access the internet. Now, if it's anything like the broadband benefit that we got from the third stimulus package back in March, then it's going to mean an expansion of the $600 to $900 broadband stimulus check that we got via the $50 to $75 monthly discounts in our broadband bills, or contact your broadband provider to set it up. There's also a one-time laptop gadget discount worth $100. You can also check that out on their website too. Drop a quick comment down below and let me know if this broadband stimulus was helpful to you guys or not. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, as for the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, that's definitely the bigger one to expect, as it focuses on human infrastructure. Translation: more money in our pockets. But here's a quick look. Expand at-home healthcare for older adults and people with disabilities, reduce drug prices, allow more people to qualify for healthcare coverage under the Affordable Care Act, both through subsidizing private insurance and through Medicaid, calls for Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision, lower the eligibility age. Now, some people are saying 60, other people are saying that Medicare for all, but we're still checking into that one. Now, for families, we're seeing paid sick leave and medical leave, extend the new child tax credit and the earned income tax credit for individuals. Now, for climate change, they've got consumer rebates to encourage clean energy and weatherization in homes. Now, we talked about this one before as one to watch out for. One example we found resulted in moderate income households receiving 50% of their project costs back, up to $4,000 or up to $2,000 for higher income households. There are also rebates for air sealing and insulating the attic or basement. For moderate income consumers, a $500 incentive is available per area up to $1,000. Higher income households are eligible for a $250 incentive per area up to $500. Now, we can finally get those roofs fixed, like you guys had said in the comments before. A tax increase on high income earners and on corporations. Higher taxes for people who make more than $400,000 a year. Increased funding for the IRS to boost tax enforcement. Remove tax provisions that incentivize outsourcing jobs to other countries. Now, like I've been saying, these wealth and corporate tax hikes will really enable more stimulus for us. And I'm betting that if they can actually pass this, then they'll finally have the wiggle room to add even more stimulus into the package, including the fourth stimulus check. Now, I mentioned all three bills, including the Voting Act, which will lead to more stimulus. Now, that's because the talk of this Voting Rights Act, it doesn't come without talk of ending the filibuster, aka the rule that requires the Senate to have 60 votes to actually pass a bill. Now, that's 10 less than what the Democrats have, who want to get this bill done. Now, a lot of people are demanding an end to the filibuster to pass the voting rights bill, like Progressive Caucus Chair Representative Pramila Jayapal. On Twitter, she tweeted, "Tomorrow we will begin debate on John Lewis's Voting Rights Advancement Act. To make it law, we must end the filibuster. To fight voter suppression, we must end the filibuster. To protect our democracy, we must end the filibuster." Just to give you guys a quick background on the voting rights bill, here's a really quick clip.
2020 has brought a new intensity for the long fight for who gets to vote and how. States across the country, led by Republican legislatures, have passed laws that add some restrictions to voting. And on the federal level, Democrats are trying to pass one of the most sweeping pieces of legislation in this country's history. President Joe Biden's administration has taken note as well, filing a case against the state of Georgia trying to roll back one of their recent laws.
Our complaint challenges several provisions of SB 202 on the grounds that they were adopted with the intent to deny or abridge Black citizens equal access to the political process.
Here's an inside look at how the fight over how people vote is going. Democrats were really fired up after the 2020, given former President Donald Trump's pretty extensive lies that he won and he actually lost. Republican legislatures have enacted laws in several states that somehow add new barriers to voting. Proposals in many of these states to add new criminal penalties for workers, add new tweaks to mail voting that just makes it more onerous to vote via the mail. Federal Democrats in Congress have been considering one of the largest pieces of legislation called the For the People Act, sometimes referred to as H.R. 1. It would basically remake every aspect of American,
from expanding access to ballot boxes and reducing the influence of big money in politics.
Since January 1st, at least 18 states have passed laws that restrict access to the ballot, according to Brennan Center's Voting Laws Tracker, ranging from voter ID requirements to provisions making early and absentee voting more difficult. One example is in Michigan, voting rights activists are fighting a push by Republicans to require voters to cast ballots without a photo ID to take additional steps to verify their identity within 6 days of voting. In 2020, 11,400 voters cast ballots without a photo ID. Now that might not sound like a lot, but it's almost exactly the margin by which Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton in the state in 2016. Right here in my home state, Georgia, new voter ID requirement for mail-in ballots could affect more than 270,000 Georgians lacking identification. The provision cutting the number of ballot drop boxes could affect hundreds of thousands of voters who cast absentee ballots using that method in 2020, and that's just in the Atlanta suburbs to start with. Now, this has gotten President Biden fuming, and he calls for Congress to reform voting rights.
In a fiery speech today from a podium in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Constitution, the president accused Republicans of waging an unpatriotic and un-American assault on democracy by enacting voting restrictions in GOP-controlled states.
The 21st century Jim Crow assault is real. It's unrelenting. And we're going to challenge it vigorously. We must act, and we will act, for our cause is just, our vision is clear, and our hearts are full. For we the people, for our democracy, for America itself, we must act.
The president calling on Congress to pass voting rights legislation. With just a slim majority in the Senate, any bill is doomed to fail without GOP support because of the filibuster.
Now, let's be real here. Senate's not going to have 10 Republicans vote for this. So, if they really want to get this done, then it's going to have to say goodbye to the filibuster. And right after they finish with the voting rights bill, the filibuster will still be out of play, giving Democrats an opening for more stimulus priorities, including the fourth stimulus check. Do you guys see how all this fits into the big stimulus picture? House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants to hit the ground running, but already holding a procedural vote as soon as Monday for all three bills. The challenge is 9 moderate Democrats are voting to tank the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill if they do not get the $1 trillion bipartisan deal first. Nancy Pelosi, on the other hand, has been firm in her stance that the House must vote on the budget resolution before the infrastructure bill. Now, according to her, any delay in passing the budget resolution could threaten our ability to pass essential legislation through reconciliation. So now what, right? Well, we'll have to keep a very close eye on some major players in the House this week. Number one, you got House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Will she stick to her word to get us the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, or will she buckle and cave to the moderates? Then again, the dozens larger progressive caucus won't let it pass either. Pretty tricky here. In a letter to her colleagues on Saturday, Nancy Pelosi said that she wants both the infrastructure bill and the Democratic-only bill enacted by October 1st. But let's see if that changes this week. Number two, you got Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal. The caucus said earlier this month that after surveying all 96 members, a majority said that they would commit to holding a yes vote on the infrastructure bill until the Senate has passed the Democratic-only spending bill. Jayapal said the American people delivered us the House, Senate, and White House, not only to improve roads and bridges, but to improve their daily lives too. We can do that by using this government moment to ensure President Biden's complete agenda is realized. You see, I hope you guys were paying close attention. She's focused on the people. I think there's a lot more going on here than they're openly talking about. All right, so number three, leader of the group of moderates, Representative Josh Gottheimer. What they're saying is that a prompt vote for the infrastructure bill would demonstrate that Congress is capable of addressing the nation's challenges on a bipartisan basis. Now, I don't know, guys. My 2 cents here is that we can definitely wait another month at most to delay fixing our roads and bridges if it means we're going to get so much more like expanded Medicare and expanded tax credits. But what do you guys think? All right, so number four, a potential weigh-in for Nancy Pelosi, Representative Henry Queller. Now, Queller is a part of the group of moderates, but here's the thing here. He's also close with Pelosi and is facing a primary challenge next year from Jessica Cisneros, a progressive who lost to him in the 2020 Democratic primary by just over 3 percentage points. Now, you can just imagine what a progressive candidate would say if Queller disregards these people's priorities. And like I said, guys, this is a big week to watch. Always catch our latest news updates. Subscribe to the channel now and hit that notification bell. Promise you won't regret it. We definitely have not seen the last of stimulus and stimulus checks. It was a big game changer as Republicans and Democratic lawmakers joined forces to put together the largest stimulus package ever passed. That $2.2 trillion CARES Act signed into law in March 2020 created a host of new programs, including forgivable small business loans, also known as the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, and enhanced unemployment checks. But definitely the most popular of all was the $1,200 stimulus check. And with the midterm just around the corner, the political power of stimulus checks should not be neglected. Look around and watch what's happening, guys. A lot of analysts argue that it's really what gave the Democrats the Senate majority in the 2 Georgia Senate runoff races in January. Both Democratic candidates, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, promised to make $2,000 stimulus checks a reality if they won. That pressured the Republican candidates David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler to do the same. In the end, Democrats won both seats, something political analysts attributed to Republican senators blocking the $2,000 checks in December. People are really waking up to the fact that poverty is a policy choice. In March, researchers at Columbia estimated that the U.S. poverty rate would fall to 8.5%, the lowest figure on record, and well below 2018's figure of 12.8%. Thanks to the latest stimulus package in March. Now, another study, this time from researchers at the Urban Institute, found that in 2021, poverty will be around 7.7%. That's almost half of 2018's rate of 13.9%. This also means 2021 is projected to have the lowest poverty rate on record. The bottom line really is this: poverty in 2021 will be much lower than it was in 2018, and it will be largely because of the anti-poverty programs, mainly all the stimulus checks. Now, what all this data is pointing to is quite clear. Reducing poverty is pretty simple. Just put more money in people's hands. Heck, I could have told you that. But yeah, you'll have naysayers commenting that this will make people not want to go to work, but really, years of research actually suggest that it's plainly not true. A major report from a group of economists and sociologists specializing in the child poverty found that a cash benefit of $3,000 per year for all but the richest children would reduce work effort by about 1.15 hours a week on average. That's in a week, guys. About 14 minutes a day in a 5-day work week and about 10 minutes in a 7-day work week. A University of Pennsylvania review of the effects of cash programs concluded our fear that people will quit their jobs in mass if provided with cash for free is false and misguided. It's crazy how the lawmakers are not seeing this one. All this proves is that poverty is a policy choice. The federal government can likely make the poverty rate whatever it likes. It could continue reducing poverty year after year, even after this is over. It just needs to make that choice. And that's what we're all talking about here on the channel. We're talking about stimulus for the American people. Some people just need a hand up. And this is exactly why we always keep you updated on the latest and the most accurate stimulus information on our daily news updates. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell for the latest, most accurate stimulus updates, timelines, and developments. Always a big thank you guys for always lighting up the like button and making my day so much brighter. I'll catch you guys on the next updates.